I'm so curious emotionally, like what most surprised you about the emotions of wrapping this show? Like, did it feel anything like you thought it would to end on the last day?
Oh God. I mean, I think, well, I'll speak for myself, but I think it was the leading up to was the hardest part. I think it was a lot of people were feeling very out of sorts, and it just the anxiety of sort of the impending ending was quite intense for me anyway, and then there was a lot of ugly crying on my behalf.
Yeah, I mean, I think absolutely. I actually don't think. I mean, the last day was emotional, but the weeks, even months beforehand, and sometimes there were things happening or emotions that I would feel. I'm like, where is this coming from? What is this? And you realize, oh my God, it's because we're starting the last season, whatever. And there were days when we did the final read through where I was crying, but then the next day I'll be good with it. You sort of make your peace. And then we kept getting reminded throughout the show, there would be these moments where you're like, oh, this might be the last time that I work with this person, or the last time we see this location. And so there've been multiple goodbyes. It's so draining. It's so tiring because you're constantly feel like you're on this roller coaster of emotions. So I can't even imagine what it feels like for the fans, but there is still so much to look forward to. So we haven't finished just yet.
Well, to get into spoilers a little bit, I mean, Jamie gets to make a bit of amends with Leary this season. And how do you feel about the way that relationship is able to sort of come back around and to wrap up?
Yeah, coming back to Scotland, is very, very bittersweet. Obviously, Jamie's always wanted to return home and to take young Ian back to his sister Jenny and sort of fulfill that promise, but also then to be confronted by Leary and the past tumultuous relationship that they had, to make amends there, to also care for Joni, that he obviously greatly cares for her. But also, to see the situation that Ian's in, his best friend, is very troubling. But that's why Jamie's there, and he's there to make amends and to put, I guess, a lot of this to rest. And I think the fans are gonna feel the same. There's a moment when you see in the opening where Jamie and Claire and Ian walk up towards Lallybroch, and I don't know. I think the fans are just going to be so happy to return home.
Caitriona, after everything, Claire finds herself now believing Jamie to be dead, which leads to some rather interesting events for her. What was it like to take Claire to that place emotionally with all the times they've been separated? I mean, is this really the most grief she's experienced?
I think so. Well, I don't know. Maybe, it's something similar perhaps to when she said goodbye to him and went back when she was pregnant with Brianna. But, the character, I think for all of us, it's like, it's hard to believe that, Jamie Fraser is not going to be around in the show. So there's that kind of element to it. But as a character, you have to believe it. You have to go there. And it's very hard. Yeah, I think it was just that whole storyline it's kind of wild. And when I first read it, I was like, oh my God, like how are we going to do this? But working with David was incredible. I think he did such an amazing job. And we worked a lot with Vanessa Coffey, our intimacy coordinator, and she's amazing. But, I think it's just one of those things where it's nice in a way to get surprised by your character's actions and by the storyline this deep into a show. It kind of, sometimes we do things in our lives that sort of defy logic, and it can be surprising, and that's it's good to be able to do that. And I thought, they found an interesting way to sort of cover that. But thank God it wasn't really.
It's so funny as the audience. I mean, we know that obviously he's not gone, but even still, that moment when he comes into the room, like I audibly gasped. So what was that moment like to shoot? Does it feel extra important and special to have a moment like that when the characters get to reunite, especially with Claire thinking he's really gone?
Yeah, I mean, I think it personally, I think, it's harder for Caitriona, I think she did remarkably well there to convince the audience that he is dead, you know, and to go that far into the grief. For Jamie, you know, he's just walking into a situation he has no understanding of how in depth or how complicated it is. And I think that is the moment where we really start to see all of these relationships unravel in some way, and it causes great, drama or trauma to the characters. But yeah, I mean, for her, it's a huge moment, isn't it?
Yeah, it was a beautiful moment to watch. So I appreciate you guys talking to me about it. I can't wait to see the rest of the episodes. And as sad as it is that it's over, that you guys are done with it, we know that there's more episodes still for us to watch. So thank you so much for talking to me always.
Yeah, thank you, Christina. So nice to see you again.